Shalom, hello. We are live with our daily learning, the book of Mishlei. We will begin today, chapter 25. We have a guest today. But what we'll be doing today is really going over what we saw yesterday and the very last lesson. The last lesson we had yesterday was a powerful one, which has to do with laziness and hard work. The book says, King Solomon says, Al Sde Ish Atzel Avarti, he ends off, I passed next to the field of a lazy person. And here, sorry, we have a customer here. I passed next to a lazy person, and I passed next to his field, and I see that it's all filled with prickles, and it's really not habitable and not profitable. And obviously, the idea is when you put someone lazy in charge of a project, not much comes of it. So, Avarti, I passed next to the field of the lazy person, and there's nothing there. It's all filled with prickles. It's not productive. And therefore, King Solomon urges us and says, Me'at shenot, don't sleep too much. Mat tnumot, don't doze off too much. Mat chibuk yadayim nishkav, don't sit with your arms around yourself. Uba mitalech kereshecha, if you indeed are hardworking, if you indeed you sleep little, if indeed you are busy with being productive, then you will prosper and do well. The next verse is very powerful, and it's chapter 25, verse 1. Gam eile Mishlei Shlomo. These following words are also the words of King Solomon, asher he'etiku anshei Chizkiah melech Yehuda, that were copied by the people of King Hezekiah. And if you go to the website or the actual city of David in Jerusalem, you will see they have seals and other archaeological evidence of King Hezekiah. And these are the words of King Solomon that were put into writing by the scribes of Chizkiah, the king of Judah. And he starts off and he says, verse 2, Kvod Elohim aster davar, ukvod melachim chakor davar. This is one of the most mystical verses you'll ever see. It is the glory of God to have things hidden, and the glory of kings to have things inspected. And King Solomon says certain things are worthy of inspection, and certain things are worthy of looking into, and hiding. And basically, the idea is when it comes to certain aspects of mysticism, of creation, of thinking of God, of talking of God, certain things are best publicly explored, and certain things are best remaining a secret. Certain things are best remaining a secret. Sorry, we have here a very studious and active individual. So basically, certain things are best off studied, and certain things are best off kept secret. And so when it has to do with the questions that have to do with the creation of the universe, why it is that God created the universe, then in that sense, it's always best to keep that only to the mystics, to the Kabbalists, to those who know about these secret things. However, when it comes to Jewish law, then it has to do, then you have to really inspect things. I think we're going to pause here because there's a calling here. But God willing, we will continue tomorrow. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining. We'll do one more verse, and then hopefully we'll see if we can continue. Verse 3. Shamayim. So Kvod Elohim aster davar. It is the glory of God to hide things and not have everything inspected by everyone, and it's the glory of kings to have things inspected by everyone. Shamayim larum. The skies are high. The eretz laomek. The earth is deep. V'lev melachim en cheker. There's really no one who can fully understand and inspect the full scope of what is in the heart of kings. Because when you're a king, you're overlooking so many aspects. You're looking at the economy, the military, the politics. There's so much that you're looking at that there's no one who can really understand this. And this is so important to know, because when a decision is made on a sort of government level, to know that there's a huge amount of considerations that go into that. Next is when you buy silver, you can have different kinds of silver. You can have silver that is pure. You can have silver that's somewhat pure, and you can have silver that is, absolutely filled with other things which are not silver. So King Solomon says, "Hagosigim mikesef vayotze latzoref keli." If you indeed clean and purify the silver from all the foreign metals, then you will have pure silver. However, in the similarly, verse 5, Hago rasha lifnei melech, if the king uproots all opposition and all the wicked, then basically a king without corruption, then the kon b'tzedek yisov, then his throne will dwell with justice. So basically, make sure if you want to have a government that stands strong, make sure it's uprooted and clear from corruption. Al titadar lifnei melech. This is such an important lesson. Don't fancy yourself in front of a king. Sometimes people are invited to the home of someone who's very wealthy, very fancy, and they think that they'll outdo the host. They think that they will dress fancier than the host. They think that they're going to do better than the host. King Solomon says, Al titadar lifnei melech. Do not try and be posher than the king. Ubimkom gedolim al ta'amod. Do not try and take the place of the great ones. Don't look to, when you meet with someone very important, always be a notch less fancy than them, because it's not going to earn you any points to be the one who outdoes the king. Verse 7, you're always better off taking this lower seat and being called up than taking the higher seat and being asked to go down. So when you're in a setting like that, always prefer to take a step a little bit down and be asked to come up, rather than take the step up, gamble up, and then be asked to step down. So it's better to be asked to come up here, than you being humiliated in front of this philanthropist or generous king, etc. Next is a similar idea, sparing us our dignity. Do not go fast into a fight. So what are you going to do at the end? You see, in the olden days, people said, "Oh, do you want to go out for a duel?" Right? Alexander Hamilton. How did Alexander Hamilton die? He said, "You want to go out to a duel?" Well, there's consequences to that. Don't jump into a fight. Don't ask for a fight. What are you going to do in the end? You're gonna climb up a tree, you can't come down. When your friend ends up putting you to shame. If you are going to fight, at the end, if you're going to get into a fight, sod acher al tegal. Do not divulge the secret of someone else. And that's so important today. People feel so comfortable. They get into a fight and they dox the person. They reveal the person's secrets, etc. No, even if you're dragged into a fight, King Solomon says, sod acher al tegal. Do not reveal the secret of someone else. Why not, you ask? You're already getting to the fight. You're already burning all the bridges. You're already doing really badly. Why should you not divulge the secret of your enemy? Because someone else is listening. And when someone else listens and sees how you're acting with your enemy, they are deciding how they should interact with you. And so if you're the one who's divulging secrets, who's behaving in this terrible way, then you will never be able to clear that reputation. So basically, avoid a fight. And even if you get into a fight, remember, do it with grace. Sometimes people get fired from a job and they go all out and they behave horribly. And then the next employer asks themselves, wait, if this is how that person behaved when they left that job, do I really want to hire them? And so the idea is, even if you get into a scenario where you have to be in a fight, do not divulge another person's secret. Why? Because there's another person who's watching, and that person is not going to take kindly to seeing such behavior. Your bad name is not going to be taken back. The next verse is just the most beautiful metaphor. Golden apples in silver baskets, a word that is spoken properly. If you are able to explain things properly, to lay them out, to give your argument properly, that is like a golden apple in a silver basket. Meaning, it's very pleasant, it's easy to eat, it's a good serving. So too, Maimonides says, when a person teaches, when a person discusses something, when a person tries to convey a message, they should always do so in a way that is pleasant, in a way that is easy to receive. תפוחי זהב במשכיות כסף דבר דבור על אופניו. The golden apples in a silver basket, that is how something that is properly spoken. That is something that is, properly conveyed. Next is we're in chapter 25, verse 12. Nezem zahav v'choli ketem. A golden earring, v'choli ketem, and a golden bracelet is chacham mochiach chacham al ozen shamat. When you are able to correct someone and give them constructive criticism, it's like a golden bracelet and a golden earring. Why? Because if someone's able to accept constructive criticism, that's actually a decoration to them. That's actually a sign of good character, and that is something for them. That's something good. However, and the same thing goes when you try and ask someone to do something for you. Like a good cold air. Usually we don't like cold, but if you're out in the field and you're harvesting, then a breath of fresh air, of cold air, that's how someone who executes the will of the person who sent them properly. So if you ask someone to do something, they actually do the job properly, that is like a breath of fresh air. It will return the soul of, it will restore the soul of the person who sent them. I thank everyone for listening. I know today there was definitely background noise. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for participating. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we will continue tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening.